Okay, gang, today's kind of a special day at Team Vesco. 444 car, I've reworked it about as far as I can do it. I've been waiting for Ken Bracchio to get the turbine engine done, and yesterday he called and said that we have pretty much everything ready to go just prior to the dyno, and looks like they've done a super job on that engine too. Anyway, we're getting ready to send this off to Rico to finish up the wiring, and old 444 is what, 63 years old this year, and Bob Blakely is the only member of the 200 mile an hour club for 2019 to get into the 300 mile an hour chapter. And Keith Thornton finally figured out how to make that Hilbert or Holley fuel injection work, and the engine really did sound nice if you did see the video. Joe Timney, Bob Hustler, Art Blight, Scott Clark, and the guys at BMRS, Wade Brown, really did a great job. And Wade made comments on our shoot, deployment, and kill system that Rico built, the relay system. And he said it took him about an hour to figure it out, but it was really he said it was really pretty darn smart. So good job, Rico. Anyway, what we did here, we got three things to do this year with this car, and it's all licensing. Rico needs to upgrade his license, and we've got our licensing engine in here with just a single Holley carburetor, old basic 355 small block Chevrolet. Snow Machine rebuilt it a few years back, and it still seems to be running fine. It probably has the capability of about 275 or maybe 80 if we're lucky. But the problem was Rico needs to get in it. My son wants to drive, and I'm going to put the 4-port in for him to try to get in the 2 club eventually, a couple years down the road, who knows. But this year, to get Calvin licensed up, and then Ken Bracchio wants to take a test drive in this thing. So hopefully, if we can get everybody coordinated and everything works out, and who knows what's going on with the coronavirus and the races and everything else. But anyway, we got to charge forward and get everything done and get it in perfect working order. Anyway, the difference between the Holley fuel injection and the carbureted system is mostly in race pack sensors and whatnot, and a lot of wiring changes. So Rico is getting enlisted to take care of everything from the new steering column, which folds up and down. It has a device that locks it in place once it's down. Once it's down and the driver's in there, there's a foot release in the bottom Jinx can take a picture of. Right down here, Jinx, if you want to lean over. This here, Joe Timney did a really good job on this car, and this is his device that he built to hold our old existing clip-on style leg restraints. Anyway, since I had a little time to spend, I went ahead and designed a release in that is activated by the release for the steering. There's a cable here. Anyway, we'll demonstrate that in a minute. But anyway, the car's pretty darn clean. We got the new race pack system in here, the new race pack dash with its lights on board. I guess you can see the big red light is low oil light. And I've made this up here to add lights to, so that we got neutral light, first gear, and a 7th gear position, so the driver doesn't shift it into neutral after he's in 7th. Also, any lights that are critical, such as parachute air or armed parachute, however we want to call this thing, any lights that we want to add in addition, you can see these with the top on. And we had to extend the top and everything 4 inches to get Calvin in this thing, so it ended up being a major rework, but it did come out really, really nice. But there is a lot of different wire-in connections, and the pedals move 10 inches down here, and we got a little problem with throttle open position sensors and whatnot. So I did a lot of work in there, and anyway, it's going to be kind of fun. The guys all did a great job rebuilding this car. It's like brand new, and thanks to Bob Blakely for everything, and Congrats to Bob for getting in the 3 club and only beat my daughter's record by 1 mile an hour, so she's feeling real happy about that. Some of the things that Rick's got to do, I'm reading my list here. We got the pedal mods. Oh, we got an up front Jinx. Let's go take a look up here for a second. Bob Blakely toughed it out and didn't have a cool suit, and everybody else is pretty wimpy and wants a cool suit. So anyway, I had to remodify this upper bracket, and I just got enough room to put the ice chest in here. I put bigger Heim joints on and had to redo the sensor for the race pack, but it all came out really, really nice. The bottom of this cool suit is now permanently fixed to the frame, so you don't take it out to empty it. There's a drain on the bottom. And then I put a new pump. I'll have Jinx come around here in a minute and take a picture of that. The pump is now separate and remote from the cool chest. If you can reach over, I'll take it. There we go. I hope we can see that. Anyway, that black pump down there, it's all hooked up other than the lines that go to the driver, and I'm going to give that job to Rico because we need to find some of this. It's a foam insulator for both water lines, and it's on the market somewhere, but we've had a heck of a time trying to find it. But I need to redo the turbine and this one, so anybody that wants to volunteer and try to find this, it's a 3/8 OD plastic tube double foam insulator. Very simple thing, but we have had a hard time finding it. So my goal this year is to get the right parts on this cool suit in both cars so we don't have any trouble with that. Let's see, what else we got? Yeah, okay, the cool suit now is right where the FM antenna was before. Here's the cable for it. I think we can locate it back maybe in the engine compartment or something. That's going to be another thing for Rico to fine tune since he's the radio man. And we got new batteries for the radio and all that. So anyway, I think we're doing pretty good on that. The canopy now, we have this is how much material we cut out right here, so I had to modify the tin and the body mount and all that other stuff. A whole bunch of mechanism in there. You mechanical guys will appreciate the work that went into this thing. But anyway, this is for Calvin's legs. What we found out is the old hood used to end right here, and then he couldn't get his knees forward to get down underneath the roll bar. So anyway, it ended up being a major, but what I am really proud about is I didn't scratch the body. So all we got to do is paint the canopy. Okay, I was going to demonstrate the foot release thing. I darn near forgot. But since this thing folds up like this, we have a lever here that has a pin that actually goes into the dash to hold it from coming up during the event. But what we do, we get the driver all situated in here. There's a lock system right here. This lock keeps these from popping out while we're putting him in the car. Once we get the driver in, we just rotate this and then it will arm itself. And then I got to push it in, and having a little problem here. Always the way, I guess. There we go. Okay, right now it's ready for the driver to get in there. Once he's in there with this up, because this gets in the way, you clip this into his legs on the bands they're sewn into the cuff of the suit. So anyway, so you get him in there, then you bring this down like that. You rotate this out of the way. Okay, that locks it. Okay, that's armed. So when the driver wants to get out, can you see the foot release down there, Jinx? Okay, I'm gonna, yeah, they jump right out. They work really well. It's gonna take everybody a few minutes to figure out the sequence of events, but anyway, that's a nice thing. And there's also a manual. If for whatever reason this fails, the driver can just lift up on that and it pops them loose. But I don't think we got any issues with that. Anyway, that's your demonstration for the day. Yeah, here's the Tom Birkeland inside of his air scoop he designed for Bob, and the fuel injected, the EFI injection system. I've got the carburetor now in there with the plate, and it all matches up real well. Good seal. But we did have a little problem with, and the guys apologized for this, but the fasteners are all different lengths for this, and I made this nice little plate up here that you can see, and I color coded all of them, and it is a pain in the butt because when you get out in certain light you can't see the colors right, and if you drop one you're going crazy. I'm going to put 1032 flathead stainless screws in the whole thing with nut plates. I think that's the way to do it. But anyway, it's kind of cool. Very nice air scoop. All hand-formed aluminum. Magic guy did it, I'll tell you that. Anyway, I guess you can see down there. Anyway, everything in the engine compartment is pretty much done other than some sensors we're going to have to get with Racepak on sensors for the turbine car and a couple for this. But all the EGTs are hooked up. New EGT weld mounts are in there, and throttle is hooked up. Pretty much race ready. Clutch and flywheel are sitting on my bench though, so Rico's got to yank the engine before he fires. Okay, here's the modifications that had to get made for Calvin to get in the car. I'm just finishing up a little Bondo work here, but as you can see inside we had to add 4 inches, and as usual it's a fabrication upgrade. It's all working well. I added the rollers here just like the turbine car has, so when the driver gets out he has to just push this forward and it'll roll forward like that, and when the new steering comes up, it comes up right inside of this thing here. So it really came out nice. It's just a perfect fit. But there's going to be a little balancing act I talked to Rico about, that he's going to have to get in there and see where the balance point is on this so that he can maybe put a little handle in there to grab to push it forward. Anyway, just one of those little things that you don't find out until you get in the car. Anyway, no scratches. It all came out pretty good. So a little paint job on this and we'll be raring to go. I think our driver camera, we'll have to check with Bob's guys on, I think the dash camera that looks at the driver and shows his steering and all that did not work, and I think that's been that way for a couple years that we had it. So anyway, the camera system just got to be looked at, and maybe it's a broken wire or something. Always electrically something's goofy one way or another. Wade that did all the wiring for the Holley system really thought everything was pretty good on this thing, although they did rework it. They got some really nice fittings and couplers, and he did all the plumbing on it as well. It's really well professionally done, and again, thanks to Bob and everybody for doing a great job, and congratulations on the 300 mile an hour club. That's all for Rick. Okay, Al Sanderson has had some severe health issues, and he's been furnishing us B, C, and D engines for years. He got my daughter in the 3 club, and guy did so much for our whole team. Al isn't going to be able to participate with us this year, and I'm talking to Snow Machine, Earl Snow, down in St. George, Utah. He's a good friend of Ed Holman's that used to work for David Hooker Headers years ago, and him and his son have been drag racing for years, but they've got a little D engine. It's a 287 D engine that has right at 800 horsepower at 10,500 RPM. It's got twin Holleys on it. Anyway, I am going to try to make a deal with those guys to support us, and we'll see what they say here in the next few days. But anyway, that would be a great engine to go back and try to get the D record. I don't have any other engines running at the moment, so this will be down the road maybe next year. The turbine's number one this year. This car is going to be a licensing engine, and everybody to get re-familiarized with the car. And anyway, the main thing is to go have fun and not overwork here. So anyway, thank you.